believe in the gun. And our players don't use it most days. They use it every day.
In my 20 years as head coach, I've used the gun every single year. Well, my dream as a coach that everybody would grow up with the gun, because getting all those reps would make my job a lot easier.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Tom McDonald from the Championship NABC Championship Webinar Series. Before I introduce Coach Kevin Boyle from Mount Verde Academy, some special thanks. First of all, the NABC staff, they've been absolutely unbelievable. Jim Haney, Reggie Mitten, Troy Hilton, and Troy's on the call. Eric Weberg and the gun for helping us make these all possible. The next one's Sideline Interactive for 8. They're going to give away an 8-foot LED sideline score table, free shipping worth about $11,000. KBA for all their work on getting clipboards, marker boards, and magnetic boards to coaches that didn't have their equipment for their presentations. Mike Bray and Jamie Dixon for all their support, the past president and the current president of the NABC. The board of directors for all their help, Championship Productions, Bill Bergen, Nate Landis, Daryl Bennett. And now's my distinct honor to introduce Kevin Boyle. Coach, I hope I got all these accolades correct. Mount Verde head coach, Max Preps, Coach of the Year, Coach of the Decade, 2010 to 2020, the 2018 High School National Champ, and 2020. And 2018 and 2020 Coach of the Year, Naismith Coach of the Year also, with great honor, and can't wait to watch. Skilled perimeter players need to master, skills they need to master. Coach Boyle, thanks for being on, and thanks for sharing some time with us to watch you on the court with your players.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Coach, I only have one question for you. Is a lot of these, even the college coaches that are on these calls, these webinars, are asking, hey, what do we do? Do you have all your players there still? Are you sending stuff out to them? How do you keep it in touch with your players for what they need to do to keep getting better during this pandemic?
We're an international half-day, half-boarding school, and all the kids went home. We probably have about 4 kids remaining from China on campus, but the whole school was going home for spring break when this happened, and then they end up sending the rest of the kids home because it's just unlikely that we'll be in school the rest of the year. So everybody's home. We also have a basketball academy called the Center for Basketball Development. We have 120 kids, and each day I have my son Kevin Boyle Jr. here and Joe Katuka with me here today. Kevin puts together a practice from home for the kids. So they have usually 4 or 5 videos they get daily that they work on: stationary ball handling, 2-ball dribbling, the wraparound hand quickness series, some shot fakes, so stuff that you could do if you're isolated in an apartment, stuff you can do if you have a basket and you can't get outside anyplace else because of quarantine restrictions. And then we also give them a video on a situation. It might be pick and roll, and we'll use our ex-players like D'Angelo Russell or Kyrie Irving, who played for me, and we'll show them in a ball screen, and we'll give us several paragraphs about our understanding of how you should be using a ball screen in different situations, and then we'll give them a 10-question quiz. And then lastly, we'll give our guys 2 messages in a week. It could be on attitude, it could be on motivation, it could be on time management, it could be on money management, and give them a few questions to answer on that. So something life skills that will kind of just reinforce for them while they're at home. So can they get two things on life skills a week? Can they get a 10-question quiz on, is it spacing, is it pick and roll, and can they get daily workout from home, which again is going to involve a lot of what can you do in a small confined space. And again, it's not all dribbling. It could even be even put a little defensive thing together you can do in your apartment on short closeouts and things of those nature. So trying to be creative to get them still playing, still thinking the game.
Coach, I'm going to let you go to work. I'm going to give you 50 minutes. So at 10 till, we'll ask a couple questions and we'll let you go. But that looks like a post player, not a perimeter player. Or is he just one of those gifted, talented athletes behind you?
he's one of those bigs who thinks he's a perimeter.
I'm glad he's smiling back there.
With the quarantine, we got to do what we can, okay?
No, wait. We've had a ton of people ask about this topic. What can their kids do at home? So thank you.
Okay, well, one of the things I think we're trying to accomplish here is it's not real complicated. It's somewhat simple, the things we're showing. But these are things, like you mentioned before, we've had the great fortune of having 5 of the last 8 high school national champions. Obviously, that's not happening with a lot of talent, and we've been fortunate to have that. But we pay attention to detail, and we pay attention to fundamentals. And a lot of times, a lot of college guys will come to our practices, and they're surprised that a lot of the basic fundamental things we're doing, and usually in a complementary way of, some of the stuff we're going to do today, starting with basic dribbling, starting with basic pivoting, starting with basic passing. Because again, as I'm going to mention in a minute, if you can't do those things, none of your ball handling, none of your plays are ever going to work against unique and elite pressure.
I got one last question. I'll turn it over to you. Can your son or your staff send us a couple of the clips that you send to your players, and we could put them online?
I'm sure we could do some of that stuff for you guys. Yeah,
that'd be great. Thanks, everybody. I'll call you. I'll get back on at your time, 3:50. Right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. Ready? All right, everybody. Welcome. It's Coach Kevin Boyle from Montverde Academy here today in Florida. And I think we're pretty much all in this together and all in a similar situation where we're being quarantined to some degree throughout the United States, if not throughout the world. And unfortunately, I love doing these on the court as opposed to at the desk. I just feel personally more comfortable and would have loved to be able to have, a group of 10 or 12 kids here. I think they show better, they look better, but we're going to do the best we can given the circumstances today. I have myself and a couple coaches with me. Kevin Boyle Jr., played for me at St. Patrick's, played with Kyrie Irving and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in high school and started with those guys, played at Florida Gulf Coast, and has coached here in different capacities for 4 years. He was our national prep coach, okay, and had teams that were in the top 10 for all 4 of those years. They appeared in the top 10 of national prep. And he's gotten a lot of accolades from our players, R.J. Barrett, Andrew Nemhart, a number of guys over the years that thought he was really good at skill development and finishing at the rim and finishing series that we're going to show in a little bit. And then we also are fortunate today to have Coach Joseph Katuka. Joe Katuka actually played here. He was part of Basketball Without Borders. Kevin Sutton, a former coach, an excellent coach who was here prior to me, had coached come in from Basketball Without Borders. He went to school here, had a great career here, was on an undefeated team here, later went to George Washington, was a starter at George Washington, and probably would have had a chance to be a pro-level player if they valued the three-point shot with bigs the way they, a decade ago, the way they do today. A big who could really face the basket. He's an excellent big man coach, yet he's an excellent all-around coach, and he's also helps us developing our bigs and playing on the perimeter as the big. So today what we're going to get to first we'll give you a quick background. Again, I've been here 9 years. I've been coaching for, I think it's 33. It was at St. Patrick's in New Jersey where we had some really good teams with great players like Al Harrington, 98 National Player of the Year. We've had the Corey Fishers, who was, an All-American, Samuel Gallenberg, who played in the NBA for 14 years. And we had Kyrie Irving, obviously an incredible guard, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who was the number 2 pick in the draft. And then moving over to Montverde, we've had just, a great amount of talent. We had Joel Embiid for a year. We had Ben Simmons for 3 seasons, National Player of the Year. R.J. Barrett for 3 seasons, National Player of the Year. Cade Cunningham for 2 years, National Player of the Year. And, among many other players this year, Scotty Barnes. So we've had a bunch of talented players and talented guards. This year in college basketball, through our Center for Basketball Development, you had Maceo Teague playing at Baylor in the backcourt. You had Jermaine Coussar playing at South Carolina in the backcourt and starting, both averaging double figures. You had Cam Healy through our Center for Basketball Development, averaging 17 at Albany. And then through our high school team, You had Andrew Nemhard averaging 11 and 6-7 assists at Florida. Marcus Carr averaging 16 at Minnesota. R.J. Barrett playing with the Knicks, among a slew of other players that were very skilled. So we've had a lot of skilled guards come through here. And then in the NBA, obviously, we've had D'Angelo Russell most recently with RJ now. So we've had a lot of high-level guards, and the basic fundamentals is always our starting point with everybody. First, Coach Kevin Boyle Jr. is going to take us through just our basic dribble stationary series that you could do in your apartment, you could do in your garage. And again, it's not real fancy, but it's down to basics. So here's Kevin Boyle Jr. starting off.
How you doing? First, we're just going to start off. I'm going to go most of these, like for example, our first one, our pound dribble series, we usually get 50 reps, our crossovers, so 25 reps. I'm going to do it in a consolidated fashion so we can move along. But for everybody who's watching, a lot of people post videos on YouTube, various sites, showing like a whole ball handling workout in 4 minutes. We're going to do something similar here, but really this should be spending about 15 to 18 minutes of time when you're especially out of your season to really getting good at some of these things. So first off, I'm going to start out here. We're going to pound dribble, both hands to 50. Above your knee, below your waist or chest area, so we're not getting down here where a lot of guys practice. In reality, we're not dribbling down there in the game. I can pick it up and pass. Right here. Left hand. I just arms up. Left. Steal. Next, we're going to go 25 crossover. If you have the time, you can go back and forth to 50 just to get solid with that rhythm. But the reality, we're going to work on game crossovers. You're not going to dribble up, crossing back and forth. You're going to cross off the dribble. So we're going to go to 25, 1, 2, cross. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 25. Next, inside out, we can go to 25 or 50. Continuous. Here, so I'm building that strength, I'm getting that rhythm. Left, 25 or 50. Up, eyes up. Now I'm going to go in game. Off the dribble, inside out. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. Switch. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go to 15 or 20 with that one as well. Next, same thing. B dribble. B dribble. 3, 4, 5, 6. Left. I'm going to go back to my 2 dribbles. 1, 1, 2, 3, 25, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Both those. Next, we're going to go behind the back cross. And this one is one that I think we need to emphasize. Most guards, if we're talking about handling against pressure, running a team, trying to run sets for your team, especially when other teams already know the sets, it's not easy to have nowhere to go, to be over half court, and to start crossing in front of a physical defender or someone who's inside of you. Here, we teach a lot. One of the most important dribbles for anyone to be able to master is the straight behind the back cross. Not whipping it around and putting it in their stomach, but just being able to change hands without the risk of getting stripped up the middle. So we're going to go first to about 50, back and forth, eyes up, back and forth, get comfortable and speed up. Set the timer for 1 minute or go to 50. Next, we're going to go 2 bounce, cross. 1, 2, 3. That game position back to almost where my triple threat would be. That's that. 1, 2, guys getting open on the left wing. Switch. Next, we're going to go behind the back rack. Now, this is more of a forearm situation, if I'm pushing it and someone goes for a quick steal, I need to be able to wrap it so I'm not just throwing it side to side. I'm bringing the ball back as far as I can so that I'm not hitting myself in the leg or in the butt when I'm trying to go behind the back. I need to get it back far enough so that it comes around. Here in place. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Now the other one, if you were to stop catching it on the other side, just go side to side. If you didn't catch with your opposite hand. This one will be going straight out in front. So that's the difference. This one we're doing with space in the open court. If you catch it quick, if someone comes for a steal. The other one we're doing to change direction, just change our hands to run a set to protect the ball. Okay. Lastly, we're going to go.
Hey, Coach Boyle.
Yes.
Coach is doing a great job. Could he step maybe one step closer to just so we can hear better? Or Coach Boyle, maybe you could share your thoughts when he's going.
Okay. Now,
Thank you.
lastly, through the legs, flip, protect. 1, 2. See now he's protecting the dribble, so when somebody arm up, protect his arms across, it's not up in the air, it's just where the guy's reaching for the steal. All right, so that was a little basic dribble series. Again, very simple, but we really, I remember when RJ Barrow was here, Kevin used to say to me all the time, make sure you work on your dribbling today. He just thought RJ shot the ball better, finished better, was better from the line when he had a good feel for the ball. So we're not going to get into wraparounds and body circles today, but just doing those things for 4 or 5 minutes, then do our stationary dribbling. We probably start this, not every day, but probably 2 out of 3 days in our practices, just with 15, 20 minutes of stationary handling, just everybody getting loose. And then the last thing we do with that, President Ball, please, then we go real quick into our 2-ball series with it. And just again, this is the end of it. We're just going from our waist to start. We're just going to our waist to get loose. Our eyes are up. We'll see the court. Again, like Kevin said, above our knee, below our waist. We're going to start with our waist to 50. Then we're going to go waist, knees, waist, all to 50. Then we're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Trying to get the feeling if we can handle 2 balls really good. Our vision's going to be up. When our head and eyes are up, we're going to have a good feel for the game because we're going to see the defense lurking for steals. We're going to be able to see people where they're moving, when they're moving to, and ready to make the passes. Lastly, with the 2 balls, we're going to go with our 2 balls. B dribble, start one between, one on the outside, and we're just going to lead them back and forth. Again, counting to 50. And the last one we're going to do for today is our 2-ball crosses. 1, 2, cross, 1, 2, cross, 1, 2, cross, 1, 2, cross. And again, we're just getting our feel for the basketball. The next thing we're going to go to right now is we're going to go to passing. And we're, again, one of the compliments we've got for years was that we're a good passing team. And, you know, it's not a coincidence. We have obviously talented players. Some of them have very good vision. The Kyrie Irvings, the D'Angelo Russells, the Ben Simmons, the Cade Cunninghams. But we also do a lot of fundamental work on passing. So we reduce the amount of turnovers. And, you know, we're sticklers for the detail with this. The first one, real simple, they're going to start in a triple threat position. They're going to step a baby step with their right foot if they're a righty, and they're going to end up passing the basketball thumbs up, thumbs down. They're going to finish with their hands extended and their thumbs down, so they're getting a straight pass and a good backspin on the pass. Triple threat after the catch. Catch it. You always get in the habit of triple threat. And a lot of times, the team is passing it, and it's not game-like, where every time you're catching a ball, you're making it believe somebody is getting into you right away. You're playing against somebody aggressive like ourselves. Every time you catch, we're going to try to get inside your body and pressure you. Okay, the next one is, it's good that we could do that, but now can we do it off a dribble? A lot of times you're at the point, you're being pressured, okay? And what I should say first is all your plays are meaningless as a coach if you cannot handle the ball versus pressure. So if you cannot dribble it up versus pressure and handle the ball, if you cannot pass the ball when you are being pressured,
if you cannot be the receiver and get open when you're being denied, if you were the receiver, if after you get open, if you can't pivot and get space to be able to make the next play, shot, pass, or dribble. So you got to be able to handle against pressure, get open against pressure, pass the people who are being pressure, pass under pressure, and pivot against pressure. If you can't do those things, and then you have to add your cutting and understanding spacing, then you compete against real good teams with 4 guys that can do those things. And you can be under-talented and compete, but most people don't have the ability to handle and pass and pivot against pressure. The next one is going to be off the bounce, because a lot of times you got to be able to pick it up quick and throw that pass. 2 dribbles, good. Now we'll go 2 dribbles and a crossover. 2 dribbles, cross it, pass. 2 dribbles, cross it, pass it. 2 dribbles, cross it, pass it. Okay? The next one is there's times in a game that it's appropriate that somebody's in your way. You can't throw a traditional chest pass. Yes, so I'm between Kevin and him. You can't throw it through, so he's got to step not into me. He's got to step outside of me. And he's got to lift his right elbow a little bit. At the end, it becomes a one-hand pass, but your left hand's on the side as long as you can. The common mistake people make with this is they step into the defense instead of outside the defense. And they throw it from their shoulder instead of throwing the ball and getting it a little bit away from himself. All right, so he's going to step outside the defense with long arms and make a pass more with the right hand. Step outside the defense, more with the right hand. Okay, so we're going to do that to 25. Then we're going to do it with the other pivot and step to the left. Now just step out. He's going to step outside to the left. So he's working on that. All right. The next pass that Kevin just showed in the air is going to be when somebody's active on defense. We spend 2 minutes every day when they pick the ball up, getting out of stance and tracing the ball. So now in that scenario, you're playing against an active defender. What are we going to do? You're going to pick it up, out, and then step over. And again, the common mistake people make on this is they step into me instead of across from me. So when Kevin steps out and I'm here with him, he steps here, and now I still block his pass. Instead of stepping over there, look at the distance now as he stepped across, and not his feet become in different track lanes so he can get around people, and that's really important.
Coach Boyle, I got a question for you. One of the people that's watching, like, if you could mention, like, give them a recommendation on how many reps, how often they should do it, how many reps, just that.
We usually do this for 45 seconds with partners who align the whole team up like they are across from each other. Usually we do it across the foul lane, we up and down the court, and we'll go right away. We'll start, hey guys, we have 12 minutes stationary dribbling ball handling. Maybe we're doing 2 minutes of wraparounds, and then we're doing, 30 seconds right-hand pound, 30 seconds left-hand pound, 30 seconds inside out, 30 seconds inside out cross, 30 seconds behind the back cross. And we're doing some pattern for about 12 minutes. Then we're going into our passing, going across from each other, and we might do the same thing. We could do reps. You could do 25. You could do 50. We usually do it for about 30 seconds, and then we're on to the next one. And we may not do all of them in one day, depending on the time of practice. If we only had 4 minutes for it, we might only choose a couple of them that day. And all
Got it.
period. Okay? So we usually do it for about a 30-second period. Okay, now the
Perfect.
Yes, sir?
Perfect, Coach. Perfect. That's what they just wanted.
The next one, Kevin, was the one-hand pass. There's times that it's advantageous if you have the ability to control the ball with one hand. You pick it up like you're shaking hands. You turn your thumb back up to your shoulder, and now you have your hand behind the ball, so you're not throwing it, you're not hooking it on the side. The hook pass is much harder to control. So now he's getting his hand back behind the ball. And a lot of times you get that where maybe there's a guy with long arms, like an R.J. Barrett guarding you, that's trying to, he knows you're a passing point guard. Maybe you're not a scorer in your high school. Maybe you don't have the gift to get by people. He's trying to cheat the passing lanes even though he's guarding you because he thinks you're starting the offense, and you may have to get it there quick with a bounce pass or with a ball in the air. Not too many guys can throw an 18-foot bounce pass with your left hand when a guy's being denied on the wing. But when you have, and traditionally, we would want to put that in the air. But there are times you're not able to because there's a lot of activity, and the guy guarding you 6'6" and you're 6'1", and he's cheating passing lanes. So you may have to put it on the floor in that case. Traditionally, we want to put the ball in the air on the perimeter when we can. If the defense is doubling us or real active with their arms and trying to cheat that pass, then we may be able to have to throw with the bounce pass. Okay? Lastly, what we're working on right now is our skip pass. So again, in a game, unlike soccer where you bring the ball back behind your head, we're bringing it to the top of our head. And when we pass the ball, we're going to end up with our thumbs back by our ears, but just not behind our shoulders, and our index fingers in the guy's chest. Now, on the outlet, you could throw a straight line pass or a guard-to-guard pass. I could throw a straight line pass if needed, if it was a little further. Against the 2-3 zone, we have to float the ball from wing to wing over what I call the imaginary volleyball net, going across the court so your passes aren't stolen on the skip pass.
Coach, you're getting awesome quotes or awesome feedback, so just keep going. And like I said, I'll follow up with you a little before 10 till, okay?
Okay, good.
Thanks, Coach. Great job.
Thank you. Okay, we're just working on passing. Triple set. See the rim? Ready to shoot the ball? With that basket, they're making it believe they're looking at the basket. Now they're going to make believe they're throwing over the 2-3 zone. So if they were on the wing and the wing, which we can't incorporate here because of the big situation we're in, if this was the wing and the wing, now it's between them. Now they're switching it over the defense. And in that pass, obviously it can't be a straight line pass through the 2-3, but if it's in the air too long, it also can be slow. So we have to be able to skip the ball in that fashion. The next thing we want to work on real quick, we want to talk about using the ball screen. Coach Kevin's going to go over there on the wing with Coach Katuka setting the screen. So Coach, why don't you come from this block? Kevin's at the, you can be doing this when we use the ball screen as, probably 75% of our play today is going to come off a ball screen. There's a handful of guys in the NBA, a handful in college that are gifted enough one-on-one that they can beat a guy one-on-one off the bounce where you really don't need a screen for penetration. But with great help defense, especially in the college game, great stunting, great closing off penetration, often we need that ball screen to be able to get that 5-on-4 advantage. And what is our looks with that? The first look is, one, Coach Joe is going to sprint to screen to hopefully get his man not attached to him, so we're able to have some space. So Kevin, if his man is trying to go over the top of the screen, so if the chair is trying to go over the top of the screen, Coach can run him into the screen. And then his first objective, if Coach Joe's man is a big guy who's not the most athletic big guy, or if Kevin's got superior athleticism and he comes up near the foul line or above, he's probably going to just attack him, turn the corner, and get to the basket. So option one, on a ball screen, can we run our guy into the screen if he's trying to go over the top of the screen? Can Joe sprint to the screen so his man's not attached? And if Kevin has an advantage one-on-one with that big guy, can he get by him and beat him for a score? Or can he get by him, cost weak side help? So he's getting guys from over here, starting this swing. He has some help. He's getting a kick-out pass for an open jump shot. Okay, so that's the next option. So one, can he turn the corner and aggressively attack the big guy and either score or kick it to the corner or wing on the weak side? Now, what if the big guy sags back like you often see in the NBA and he's given 4, 5, 6 feet of spacing where maybe you really can't get by him, yet he's a decent shot blocker, so you may not want to go all the way too into him where you're getting too close to Marvin Bagley. Now Kevin could turn the corner, keep his man on the side, pause a little bit, slide over a little bit, and then he might have a little pull-up baby jump shot. You saw Kawhi Leonard do this against the 76ers last year. Our guy, a great player, the Max Preps high school player of the decade, Ben Simmons, was guarding Kawhi. A lot of times they had Gasol come and screen for him in the Toronto series. Joel was hanging back in the 3-second. Ben was trying to recover over the top, and he kept Ben on his hip and then had to make a read. Did he keep Ben there and slide a couple of dribbles to the elbow and hit that little 16, 17-footer? If Joel hung and helped too long, then he kicked it to Gasol, popping back to the slot for a three. Or if Joel faked help and went back to Gasol, he continued to drive on a hesitation and go before Ben was back. If they overhelped to the weak side, he kicked it to the weak side, and then they had Danny Green spotting up in the corner. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to show that. First, drives, he holds him, boom, slides it, and he's got a little bit of a jump shot. Okay? The second one, the big guy's man stays back and stays in. Joe pops. And now we have Joe for a little pop jump shot. If they help, we have one more in the corner. So they may, why don't you take that up a little more to the slot, Kevin, a little more to the slot. So Joe pops more in that slot area instead of the wing area. So now Kevin drags this over. He's going to drag, he's going to hold his man. The big's in the lane. Now he has a shot. If the corner helps, Joe has space for one more. So usually when we have a shooting big and a shooting corner, we want to drive at the two players. So there's 4 out and 1 in. Joe usually wants to screen with his back to two guys and face the shooter in the corner. So now when he pops, we have 2 on this side, 1, 2, 3, and then we have, if they want to help, and that guy is stuck in a 2-on-1 if the big guy hedges and stays. Okay? So that's the general rule. So 1, Kevin turns the corner, gets to the rim, attacks. 2, the big sags back. He drags it, keeps him on his hip, has a little jump shot. 3, our big guy's a shooter. He drags it, hits Joe on a pop. 4, our big guy's not a shooter. So we're going to have Joe sprint to screen and sprint to the rim. Okay? So he's going to sprint to screen. Kevin's going to drag it out a little bit. He's going to get to the rim quick, and he's going to roll quick to the rim. So one more time, please. So we want to get a sprint to screen. They're going to help on Kevin because he's Kyrie Irving. The big's not a shooter. And then we're going to sprint him to the rim because we're going to make that corner have to help on Coach Joe. If he doesn't, Coach Joe has a quick lob dunk over the top. If the big stays with Kevin while his man's getting back, if they don't, then it gets kicked to the corner. I said this a while ago. You had Cleveland play Philadelphia. I mean, Cleveland played Golden State. And McGee, a couple years ago, screens for Steph, and he got like 4 or 5 dunks in the first quarter because he was screening. They didn't want to leave Steph for the 3. He rolled quick to the rim for a dunk, for another dunk, for another dunk. I think he was 5 for 5 in the first quarter. Then they started pinching off the corner, and Steph hooked it to Klay Thompson, and he hit 2 threes. Then they decided not to pick up Steph and lay back, and then he hit 2 threes. So you were picking your poison. Obviously, all this works better when you have talented players in each position, but at the same time, we got to do the best we can with the guys we have, and it also works to a lesser degree, but it works with them percentage-wise as well. So again, real quick, turn the corner and score. Secondly, you can't get by the big. Drag him and see if you can keep your man on the side and hit a little shot, or drag him, kick it back to the post, or 3, force a switch or an overhelp and hit the roll, and 4, hit the pop and hit one more. So that's our basic ways of dealing with a ball screen. Obviously, we also can re-screen it. If you're not a great shooter, we could screen him. Joe could come out and screen Kevin. His man goes under the screen. Now he drags him, and then he re-screens him. And then he re-screens his man, and now it's going to be hard to hedge again the second time, okay? And then lastly, if they're cheating too much, the guy guarding Kevin is trying to prevent him from going to the screen. Go screen coach. He could reject the screen, go away from it, and attack the basket or hit the corner for a shot. So those are 7 different ways that we could deal with the screen. The other thing that I think is real effective, if Coach Boyle was bringing the ball up near him, right around there, Coach, and Coach was there, maybe Coach is overmatched. So you have your high school team, and they're overmatched against playing us. The point guard's overwhelmed with Cade Cunningham and his quickness and his length guarding him. And you're saying, we're trying to run this ball screen for him, but he's never getting to the ball screen. Well, a good thing to do is to pass to the big man flashing to the top of the key, and then coach turns and faces, and then at the last second, he turns back and sets a screen. So now it's easy for Kevin to walk, jog, run, cut to the screen. Coach Joe catches and faces the basket. This way, Kevin. Coach Joe faces the rim, so his man now has to stay between him and the basket. And now he's not able to hedge on a late. Now Joe pivots and hands off. And now we have a nice little pick and roll series, the same thing as in dribbling. And now our best player has the ball in a 5-on-4. If maybe he's got good decisions, but not a great handle, or just an overwhelming point guard. Okay? So those are a little trick that you could utilize to get guys to be able to use your ball screen, but you have to practice the pivoting out with the big guy. The next thing we're going to do real quick is we're going to get into a little bit of our gap and kick series for the guards, okay? So how do we get penetration? You know, first we get penetration off the dribble, or we a gifted one-on-one player. Most of us aren't gifted enough to get great penetration to force a lot of help off the dribble. Secondly, we get dribble penetration. We could get it off a jab step, so I could jab and beat my man to the basket. Third, I could get it off a shot fake, a slow fake with my body down, slow fake, and then gap past them to get an advantage. And lastly, we could get it off a catch and go. Right now, we're going to show off a catch and go, a little series of, first, we're going to gap it, attack the elbow, make the wing help, and kick it down. All right? Go ahead. First, coach is going to pass. He's going to exchange. Coach is going to run out and replace each other. He's going to catch. He's going to hit a three. His man at space. He pulls out. So the best thing about this is we don't have to be a great dribbler. We don't have to be a great shot faker. We're going to use the closeout, the momentum of the defense rushing to pressure us, especially against quick teams. The ball's coming from one side of the court. The teams jump to the ball. Coach exchanges. Coach Boyle runs up high. His man attacks him, and he beats him. So now he's got a 5-on-4, or at least he's on the side of him. And if he's a smart player, he knows how to play with players on the side, he's going to have a little bit of an advantage to gap and kick. So people fear him getting to the rim a little bit. Now we have a gap and kick to go. So first, it's gap and kick. Change. Gap. We're going to go through that series. The next part we're going to try to work on is, what if the defense is stunting and faking help? They don't think Coach Kevin gets the ball, reverse it, change. Now Kevin's only 5'9", so you might say he's being guarded by 6'2", stay with the shooter, fake help, maybe he passes it, fake help, make him finish with his defender on the side of him. That's a tough finish for his size, which we'll get into later. So now, when Joe's man fakes help and stunts, he slides down one, Kevin drives the rim and is going to flip it to him, not hand it to him. There's a difference between the handoff screen and the drive, so your man guarding the driver can't switch. So we'll show that first. Coach will pass it, change. Coach will get it high. The defense starts. You'll watch again, now flip that around. Good. Now they're going to switch it. Got to change. Kevin catches it. Slow motion. Slow motion. He catches it. His man attacks. Joe slides down. And we flip it underhand. And then Coach gets back out for the three. Because when Joe continues with that penetration, he may have the hook pass. That's going to be our third one. And the receiver of this does not want to stop. You are reading when you're dribble, slow motion. Coach Joe is reading. Stop. Coach Joe is reading Coach Boyle's man. If Coach Kevin's man is guarding him and taking away the drive, he will not be able to switch. So if coach's man is trailing on the catch, it's a continuation to the rim to make a play. Now, if he goes under, it's the only time we face up and square. Otherwise, we're reading running the three-point line right into a catch and rim attack. It's no slow up. It's no face and square. It's only a face and square if they switch or if they go under and beat you there, and then that's into a re-screen. So now the second one, we're going to exchange. Our third one that we could also use against a stunt, when somebody stunts up on defense, meaning the defense starting to go. All up on that, or what's really good if there's no post player on that side of the court, when he stunts up, Joe just goes right to the basket. Joe, and a lot of guys will teach a V cut on this or a step towards the ball. He does not want to step towards the ball on this. Coach's feet are flat on the wing. And once Kevin dribbles at him, he goes to the basket. Okay? He doesn't want to take a step towards the sideline because he's not faking his man out. His man's already stabbing towards Kevin the stunt. So his man's moving towards half court. He doesn't want to move towards half court. He wants to go to the rim. So his man's momentum is to half court. That's just a cut to the rim, and it's no setup. He's already stepped up, so you don't have to set him up. Setting him up in that case would give him more time to recover if he's an athlete. Okay, so we'll show that real quick. Next. That's our third series. And now we usually do this, guys, with a line up here, two or three players on the wing, and the coach is in the slot. And we're going gap and kick series, gap and kick, gap and roll up, gap and back door. And now we're going to reverse it, drive it, and hit the roll behind. So in the game, if Kevin threw the ball to Joe on a reversal, I had it, we reverse it, we go fast. It's very natural for Kevin's man, which I'm going to show you now, to suck into the lane because we've all been taught the pack line and get in and help. So it's very natural for the defender here on the shot. So Coach Katuka knows when he drives baseline, he has the closest perimeter behind him. He has the weak side perimeter, the last weak side perimeter in the corner. He has the fourth perimeter player in the slot dive into the front of the ring. So on baseline penetration, we have baseline drive, baseline drift for the weak side corner, baseline drive, slot to the front of the rim with a little bit of a hold on that weak side, on that drive from the weak side. And we have the closest perimeter usually rolling behind him. And then we have the big getting available depending where he is on that penetration. So he gives a passing angle for a lob dunk or a little bounce pass. Okay? So right now we're going to show the reverse and roll behind. Reverse it. Roll behind. One second, please. All right, now.
Coach, we got about 7 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks,
now,
Coach.
Now, Coach Kevin Boyle Jr. is just going to show us a little bit of our layup finish series. And this is something that, we did years ago in the gym many times with Kyrie when he was playing. And just, obviously he's ambidextrous. He's got a great talent. But it's something that, you got to really practice. Most guys don't practice shooting off the dribble. Everybody practices their form shooting in close, and then they go out. Everybody talks about it. Very few guys practice shooting off the dribble in close from jump shots. And then almost nobody practices your up in spin shots, your reverse shots, the proper spin on the ball, the proper position in your hands. And when are you doing each move? The first move coach is going to show is like that. You're going to come straight out, one hand layup. So he's just coming down. Now this is, again, you're going quick. You're trying to surprise the big guy, and you're just getting up and quick. He's anticipating you putting the ball on the other hand, and then he's going to try to make a block because he thinks you're going to gather in two hands. The next one is that, Joe, you can go, is going to be one hand off the wrong foot, the inside foot. So now Coach Joe is coming off the inside foot, and this often happens when you've got a big guy on the side of you and you're trying to surprise him off the other foot, outside foot, sideline foot. So he's going sideline foot and underhand. Sideline foot because the big's on the side of him, and he's expecting him to go the traditional 1-2. The third one Kevin's going to show is the baseline attack reverse layup. And we usually do this for 6 layups, partners at all 6 baskets, if you have them, or 4 baskets. And then we're going to go reverse layups, and you see the spin. He's turning his pinky to the backboard. One more time, Kev, please. He's going out. He's making it believe he beat his man. There's help. He gets around it, and he's going baseline spin, okay? And he's got, again, his pinky is going to the backboard to get the correct rotation. The next one Kevin's going to work on is his inside hand layup. And again, we were doing these in series of 6. So now you're surprising the big guy. Often this happens on a ball screen, okay? The guy, you got by the big guy a little bit. So the big guy jumped out, you got around the big guy, he's coming over your back to block it, and you trick him and go to the inside hand. So again, if you're watching young parents, they say, why would you shoot off the wrong foot or off the wrong hand on the left or right side of the basket? It's usually to be deceptive for your big shot blocker and to surprise him with quickness. The next one was we call it our rondo, and if you watch the Toronto series this year against the Golden State, Kyle Lowry did a lot of these reverse pivots for mid-range jumpers, or do it close for a layup first. He pushes the big guy fast. He had a one-on-one switch, pushes the big guy, turns, and makes an easy shot. We'll work on these close first, and often we work on these close to the basket for repetition. Then we'll add where we come out to the slot and make believe we're one line at the slot. We're getting a ball screen. We're getting around the big. He's now he's on the side of me now. There's a little bit of space, and I'm going fast downhill. Or we had a switch. We caused a switch with the big guy, and now I'm speed dribbling to the rim, and about 14 or 15 feet, I'm spinning and shooting that little jump shot. Villanova's the master of this at jump stopping at about 4 feet. All right? And the last one is the same move, and we're going to step back over. So we're going to rondo, we push it, we show, and we step through. One more time on the right side again, Kevin. The key to this is we use speed. We go slow. So the fakes are always slow. The next action's quick. A lot of times when we use our fakes as a shot fake on the perimeter, or in here, we fake too quick. When you fake quick, 1, the referee calls a walk in the United States. 2, the defense doesn't have a chance to react to the fake. We're faking, make sure the guy has a chance to react to the fake. So now we could use our up and under. So Kevin's going to get Joe at the top of the key. One-on-one, top of the key, one-on-one. Guard Joe, one-on-one. He speed dribbles to the right. Joe's going fast. He fakes slow. Joe reacts. He fakes slow. And he steps up and under. Okay? So now we have a more mobile big that the first time we turn and hit a jump shot. Now he's on to us, and we use the step up and under. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a series of stuff we do. I wish, again, we had our whole group because it looks, great when we have the whole group of guys going in to show you exactly how the team does it. But due to the quarantine situation, we have our limited talent players and me, KBJ and Joe today all over the hill. So hopefully we showed you some little drills of that. We'll also get some of these to you that Kevin will put out there. He's made YouTubes of these that are just, again, they're basic. They're in our quarantine set. They're not with the team yet that you could see. But we do these every day. Cade Cunningham is one of the best guys in the country at pivoting and repivoting in the post. And it's really good.
Coach, thanks so much. Could you send me that workout that you have on that piece of paper too so people can follow the terminology and stuff?
Thank you. No problem.
Hey, Coach, tell everybody great job. Stay safe.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.